Danny Sheehan, who is Luis Elizondo's lawyer, recently was on the Danny Jones podcast, and he made some astonishing claims I have not heard before. Alien DNA, the U.S. Senate Armed Services Committee. Let's dig into this. If you're new to the channel, y'all, and you like content like this, hit that subscribe button. Put out a new video every day, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I do not miss a day, y'all. And, of course, hit that like button. That really helps out the videos. So thank y'all so much for the support there, vetters. And, of course, comment down below. What do you think of these comments, these claims by Danny Sheehan? I swear, every time we cover him on the channel, he's got some bombshell thing that he says that I can't fit it in my brain. So let's dive in and get the exact details of what he said. And then I have another clip from the end of the interview that I thought was also quite fascinating. Again, he tells an interesting story, but he also makes some interesting claims. Let's do this, y'all. And by the way, you might see me having some coffee and a bit of a donut. Okay, I'm having breakfast. And I have to save some time. I got a busy day. So anyway, join me for breakfast if it's that time for you. Here we go.
You know, this is an extraordinary event. I mean, when you have, everybody knows now about Colonel Grush, testifying in the House Oversight Committee under oath that we are in possession of a non-human extraterrestrial spacecraft, and the bodies that are non-human. The DNA tests have shown that they're non-human. Now, that's a big story.
The DNA tests have shown, but have we seen any DNA tests?
They've got them. The Senate Intelligence Committee's got it.
So how with Grush, how many total witnesses did he bring forward?
There are 40 of them.
40. So I was just talking to my friend Jeremy Riss on.
Just real quick, why is Danny Jones not diving into that? Hello, being DNA test results. Why is Danny Jones does not pursue this further in the interview, and I just don't understand that, right? Again, have we seen DNA test? No? Okay, let me just move on from that. I'm sorry, what? And the way Danny Sheehan says, now that's a big story, right, or whatever he says, it's almost like he prepared to bring this story to this interview, right, because Danny Jones didn't respond right away, right, and obviously he's not that interested because he's just moving on from it. So anyway, I don't know. I found that interesting. Let's continue here. I'll back it up just a sec.
There are 40 of them.
40. So I was just talking to my friend Jeremy Riss on. We do a little Patreon pre-show before this, and I was asking him because he's a historian in the UFO thing.
I know Jeremy.
You know Jeremy?
Jerry, yeah.
He's a great guy. He was talking about. I was asking him about you, and he had a great a great question. I'm gonna botch this, but he basically said, Danny Sheehan's a Harvard lawyer. Ask him this. If I broke into, or if anyone broke into anybody's house, if I broke into your house, right, and there were two witnesses that were neighbors, and they both said they saw me breaking into your house, you would go to jail, right?
I wouldn't go to jail. You go to jail.
I would go to jail, right?
I own the house. You'd go to jail.
Yeah, that's what I meant, right?
I know.
So whoever broke in would go to jail based on those two witnesses who saw you breaking into the house.
If the jury believed the two witnesses.
So we have 40 witnesses with this whole UFO dog and pony show.
That's right.
And is the issue that the jury doesn't believe the witnesses?
No, it's that the jury has been the Senate Intelligence Committee, and they do believe them. That's the whole point. Okay. That's why they passed this law. Saying, now it's time to have a full disclosure of this information to the American people so that we can formulate what to do about all this.
So why can't we get, based on those 40 whistleblowers or witnesses, why can't we get a search warrant of the Blue Room at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base or Battelle Memorial Institute?
That's basically what this statute was. This statute was basically a search warrant that was issued by the Senate Intelligence Committee, ratified by the United States Senate, saying that there is subpoena power that they have, that they're commanding them to turn over the information to the Senate Intelligence Committee and specifically to the National Archives. Okay, so they're ordered to cough it up, and if they don't cough it up, there is subpoena power, and they have the power to subpoena them to make them cough it up. And they have the power to undertake sworn depositions, so they can subpoena people to come to depositions and interrogate them under oath, subject to perjury charges against them if they try to pretend they don't have the information, or their dog ate the homework, whatever they want to come up with for their lame excuses as to why they haven't produced it. And they, very importantly, had the power of eminent domain, which was to actually order the seizure of the crafts, to take them back into the possession of the United States government,
or any material, right?
Or any material, any biologics
material.
or anything. They had the power of eminent domain to take them back. So this was a real search warrant, subpoena that was issued by Congress, basically to take this stuff into possession for the Congress, because it's an absolute violation of the Constitution to deprive the Congress of the United States, which is actually the fundamental government, the elected government of the United States. The other people are appointed. These are employees, the people in the Defense Department. They're not elected by anybody.
Right.
That thing got gutted. This thing that Danny Sheehan's talking about, we don't have the power of eminent domain. Like, we don't have any of this stuff. Like, am I wrong? That was the whole thing. That it got gutted, and it actually doesn't have any meat on its bones, right? Because they had said, the Senate Armed Services Committee had said that UAP amendment was, that was doubled. I went in my interview with Mick West. He said that too, and I had read that as well. That it was, they had Arrow, so we're like, why are we going to do this? We got Arrow, even though to me this other UAP amendment is completely different, right? So I'm just confused. I think Danny wants to keep pushing for that, which is great. Okay, that is fine. That is great, but we don't have that power, and we should have that power. That's true, but again, if they have seen alien DNA test results, why? I just don't understand why everything hasn't stopped in the government. And like, you know what I mean? That's like bombshell, bro. I mean, that is it. That is a smoking gun. I don't understand. I just don't understand how just throw that out nonchalantly in the middle of a podcast for, 30 seconds, and then we just move on from that, right? Think about what that is saying. The Senate Armed Services Committee has seen evidence of aliens, direct evidence of non-human beings, and knowing that we have the bodies, they got test results. They see the test results. They keep them, and then what? I mean, if I'm the Senate Armed Services Committee, I'm saying let me see photos of the bodies, right? I'm going to need to see photos or go see the bodies myself, I think. I don't know. There's just so much more to that story. I really wish Danny Jones had pulled that thread. Because to me, in this entire interview, that's the bombshell. That is the story. Like Danny Sheehan said, I mean, he tells Danny Jones. That is the big story. That's the only story to tell. So, and they don't talk about it in the whole 3.5 hours except for that little bit. Now, it is a great interview, don't get me wrong. Most of it is just learning about Danny Sheehan, and it is fascinating. The guy is an enigma to me. Because on one hand, he says things that are just so powerful and like, his history, and he's been involved in some amazing things. And then on the other hand, he'll just say some things that I'm just like, what? They just don't go together. I don't know. Maybe it's just like I've never encountered someone like him. So it's off-putting a little, or, off-settling. I don't know. I'm just saying. He says a lot of things that I need to see backed up at some point. I guess it's just what it is, right? There's just a lot of things that have been said. We got an alien interview video that's out there. All right, now we got alien DNA evidence, right? I mean, look at this other clip I'm about to show y'all. What they're about to get into. What he says here.
I'm delighted to come. I want to talk to the people about these things.
Yes.
That I haven't been talking about these things for people for years, but I said, this is the issue. I'm just going to bring all of that to bear, because the misdeeds of the national security state which I've talked about in a number of different areas, all come to roost on this thing. That they believe that they actually are entitled to keep secret from the people the fact that there's an extraterrestrial civilization of people coming and going from our planet, and that our people are engaged in trying to back engineer their craft to develop weapon systems. I'll do one story.
He's going to tell the story, and I do want to hear this. Sorry, got this donut. You know what? When I finish eating, well, let him tell the story a little bit. I got something to say about that alien civilizations coming and going part, right? Like, we will get to that.
Closing on this is that Hal Puthoff. I don't know if you know Hal.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
Hal Puthoff told us that he was meeting with Bill Clinton back during 1992 in the Clinton administration when the Lawrence Rockefeller and the people were talking about trying to consider putting this information out, right? He's at a meeting, and the science advisor for Bill Clinton is there. And so Hal says to him, he says, what do you think is really the source of all the pushback that we're getting on trying to get this information out? And the science advisor says, let's go outside where I can talk to you, which tells you something about what they're worried about, the kind of surveillance and stuff that's going down against the political people. Wow. He said, so he goes outside and he said, here, let me give you an analysis, he said, of what I think the problem is here, of why they're pushing back so hard. He said, there's a story about this little old man who's on his way back from somewhere. He's coming home at night, early in the evening, and he's walking through this field, and he looks down and he sees this light, like in the grass, and he leans down, and it's a frog. And the frog has this little light, like on top of its head. And he reaches down and picks, this is Hal Puthoff telling me the story. He said this is the answer, this is what the science advisor told him, is the answer for why they're pushing back like this. He said, and the little man reaches down and picks up the frog, and he recognizes that it's a crown. The little light is a crown on the head of the frog. And the frog looks up at him and says, I'm not a frog, I'm a princess. I'm a beautiful princess, and I've been turned into a frog by this evil sorcerer. And all you have to do is kiss me. You kiss me, and I'll turn back into this beautiful princess, and you and I will be married, and we'll have many great children, and we'll be able to rule our place with peace and justice. And the little man looks at her, and he says, at my age, I think I'll settle for having a talking frog.
That's good.
Okay? That's what we've got happening here. These people are willing to settle for a talking frog. Just like Woodward and Bernstein were willing to settle for just that they caught creep money going to the people that burglarized the Watergate, and let the whole other thing go. Right. They're missing out on this astonishing opportunity for our entire human family to enter into an entire new era, of safe energy and plenty for everybody and a positive relationship with an entire extraterrestrial civilization. And all they can think of to do is how to make weapons out of it so that we can, shoot a missile into Russia in 2 minutes. That's a serious problem. And I don't think the American people are going to support that. I think the American people want to know the information about this. I think that they want to, and I want to have the people understand that the national security state has to be disassembled because the United States has become the Russians, has become the bad guys that are plying their trade all on behalf of establishing full spectrum military dominance over the planet. We're living at the heart of Rome. People all like to believe that, if I were in Rome, I would have opposed slavery, human slavery. Or if I'd been in the South in the 1800s, I would have opposed slavery. No, you wouldn't. They would be just as passive as a lot of the people are now because they don't think they're involved. They don't think they can have any effect upon anything. That's what the New Paradigm Institute is going to be saying. You have to be citizens. You have to step forward. You have to pay some attention to what's going on here. You got jobs. You got everything else. We're not asking you for an awful lot of time. What we're saying is all you have to do is go to newparadigminstitute.org and, get as much information as you want or as little as you want. It's going to be very informative, very entertaining. And you can be actively participating in helping to get the Congress to do the right thing about all this. And you can tell your great grandchildren that you were there. I mean, we're at the time where the protocols are going to be established that are going to control our relationship with an extraterrestrial civilization for 10,000 years in the future.
I'm ready for it. This next year is going to be quite
Wait,
a
what?
whirlwind.
is
I'm ready
right
for it.
You know, with an extraterrestrial time where the protocols are going to be established that are going to control our relationship with an extraterrestrial civilization for 10,000 years in the future.
I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
You know?
This next year is going to be quite a whirlwind. I have a feeling.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially with the presidential
Everything.
elections coming up and
Everything.
everything that's going on in
Yep.
Congress with this Grush guy. And
Yep.
I can't wait. And thanks again for.
Danny, great job, great podcast, great production. Man, I wish you would have asked a little bit more about the DNA evidence. But he did really dive into like Danny's Sheehan's history and everything. That it was good. Like they started off UFOs and they really got dug deep into Danny's history and then came back to UFOs, and it's a really good interview. It's probably, it's the best Danny Sheehan interview I've seen, to be honest with you. It's in that sense. If you're looking for just one interview of him, I would say this is it. This really encompasses him very well. But again, this alien DNA, I really wish we would have found out a little bit more about that. And again, these alien civilizations coming and going, right? Extraterrestrials coming and going from Earth. Like, where are they going? If they're from here, I thought they were interdimensional beings. I'm getting confused by like what the origin is. Maybe it's multiple. I don't know. And how do you... So interdimensional beings have DNA, right? These craft, they're coming from another dimension, and then they have DNA like us. I mean, that is interesting. If that's true, I'm not saying that can't be true. I'm just saying, why would our tests work on them? You know, our DNA test. Like, what are they testing exactly? So then these beings must have the same structure as us, as they have DNA, right? They have muscles, bones, tissue. Is that the deal? So they also have all the senses. Does that make sense? Touch, feel, sight, hear. So they got nose, ears, eyes, right. So they take in reality like we do. You know? I don't know. Just asking questions. You know, I hear DNA test. What does that mean? Right? Because DNA has, right, it's supposed to have blueprints in it, information in it. So what information did we garner from them? And sequencing DNA, I remember that took a long time. The first, like, human DNA, if I remember correctly. And could we clone from that? Could we clone our own aliens from this DNA? You know, that'd be an interesting sci-fi movie. Wouldn't it? We get the DNA, then we clone it, we make aliens, and then so the aliens you think that are flying around aren't really like those kind of aliens. They're aliens we cloned from a real alien, but we have this one or something. I don't know. Just thinking that would be interesting. I'm always thinking of like new alien movie ideas. Who isn't, right? But that would be interesting. So I don't know. Anyway, this is quite fascinating, y'all. So maybe more will come out, I'm assuming, about this alien DNA. I don't know how that just goes out there, and like, love to get a comment from the Senate Armed Services Committee. So maybe Matt Laszlo, Ask a Poll, can start asking about that. That'd be cool, because he's on the ground, y'all. He's like, you know, he's in there getting those questions almost every day, I think. If anybody can ask, it's that guy. So Matt, I hope if you see this, vetters, if you're watching, share this clip with Matt and Ask a Poll and let him know, hey, what's up? Can you ask about this alien DNA from the Senate Armed Services Committee, that they've seen it, they kept it in their possession, the results. And what kind of results? Like super detailed? Is it a printout? Are they files? Was only part of the results? Was it a summary? You know, and who ran these tests, right? Was that verified? Was it ran multiple times? How many different bodies? How many different DNAs did they get? Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. I'm just asking because Danny Sheehan said bodies with an S, right? And that's what we keep hearing. So they must run tests on all of them. So how many tests do they have? Or how many results do they have? That would give us an indication of how many people or how many bodies. I'm just asking details. Just curious about all these details, man. I want to know about this. Alien DNA, y'all. Let me know, please. Anyway, all right, y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed today's video. We'll be back tomorrow with another video. And thank y'all again for watching and supporting. We'll see you tomorrow, y'all. Remember, every day's a gift. Peace.